Aubrey?
Aubrey Valines, 2900 Chamblee Tucker Road. I've missed you guys. Good seeing you. I want to commend you for such a strong open records law. That's great. I've been in front of a lot of cities, and I just think that's super in moving that direction. I rise for a point of parliamentary inquiry. I don't want it to be misconstrued in any way, but it's a serious question. I was here last week when the council nominated and voted Councilperson Williams to be mayor and elected her as mayor. I was here when Mike Jacobs, Judge Mike Jacobs, our friend, swore her in. And I was also here when you took the office of mayor and sat there, and one of your first acts was to resign as city council person. And my question is very simple. I heard the minutes, a motion be made to amend the minutes. Now, are you amending the minutes to change the facts, or are you amending the minutes to how it should have been, or what you think it was be or intended? Because the facts are recorded on that, and it was resigned. And I don't have any, again, I go away after this, after I sat back down. I'm just bringing it to your attention because you talked about transparency, and I'm sure you're very much aware of Matthew 7:16. You shall know them by their works or their deeds, and not by their words. And so I think in transparency, we all know what happened, resigned. You have extremely, extremely competent counsel. And I can tell you, and I'm not giving you legal advice, but sections 2.03 said the office of a council member shall become vacant upon the incumbent's death, I still see you, resignation, forfeiture of office, which means taken away or penalty, or removal from office in any manner authorized by the charter or general laws of the state of Georgia. There was a resignation that took place, and I assume you did not change the facts of that there was a resignation that took place, and none of those other things happened to create that vacancy. That's all I want to bring to your attention. A matter of parliamentary inquiry, what is reflected in the minutes. Thank you.
I have a question.
I think we attempted to clarify that. Tom, can you help us here? I had asked for just a note in the record, not to change the words that I said. I did say resign.
Yeah, I guess the sheet that I had given you regarding all the steps that would take place associated with that, and it's my opinion, and it still is my opinion, that once there was a vote to fill the vacancy, that that you would be vacating your District 1. Now, the resignation comment is in the minutes. It's on the minutes, and it's going to get, if somebody makes an issue with it, then it'll be a matter of interpretation with that. I think fortunately you can either do it over again, which is a possibility, or recognize that there's only roughly 4 months left till the next election, and if somebody's going to make an issue of it, then do something about it. Meaning either push it back or go do it again.
Just to see if I can get better, because this is really the first I've heard of this, and it's I want to make sure that that we absolutely are doing what we committed to do, and that we're not changing the record, and we're just changing the interpreter or the intent of what she was trying to say. But procedurally, when it took place, she was appointed and voted in as mayor first, and then it was in the comments. And now, by that action of becoming mayor, didn't that
it's my opinion that once the position, in other words, had been vacated, and you filled that position, then her position was also vacated.
Right.
So may I add an interpretation of what I just heard you say? As soon as she was appointed mayor by council, the vacated portion of that supersedes her making a comment that she was resigning.
And if it's an issue of parliamentary procedure, fine, but the effect of it is that she was vacating her position in order to accept the position of mayor.
So what I had asked the clerk earlier in the minutes, when we talked about this in the changing of the minutes, was to make a note that I misspoke, and I meant to say that my
Yeah.
seat had been vacated, that I didn't need to resign.
So, yes, that's
I
right.
can't take
And
it back.
You
It's on
can't take
the-
back what you did.
it's on the-
The minutes
it's on
are the
the
minutes,
tapes.
it's on the
Right.
tape, but you can explain, which the clerk will do by footnote, that you misspoke.
Okay. If we need to go back and correct it, I'm willing to
Mm.
do that. I just, it was a busy night that night, and I truly misspoke.
So Tom, if we went back and recreated it, it would be based at a starting point of where Rebecca as mayor pro tem would start off again with council.
You'd have to go through the whole thing again, okay? She would have to resign, and you would vote her as the mayor, okay? Then, when she came back in as the mayor, you're going to have to redo Lindley's,
And then the
okay? And
mayor.
then the vote that you just took that required her vote, you'd need to do again.
Yes.
And all the votes on which I voted,
I beg your pardon?
and all the votes on which I voted would have to be redone under that
That's
scenario.
right.
Okay,
If
but-
it was needed, in other words, if your vote was the third vote and there weren't three other votes not counting you, then it would have to be, that would also have to be redone.
Okay. But if I understand you correctly, she was appointed and voted in first, thus legally, the position at that point was vacated, and she could call it anything she wanted to. The action had already legally occurred.
That's right. That's my opinion.
Okay. Any other comments?